Pacific coast of North America, where pods of dolphins cruise southwards, following the fish. Up on land, however, movement along this stretch of coast is more difficult, where the western extent of the US-Mexico border wall runs into the ocean. For migrants and asylum seekers from across the world, their goal of reaching the United States is tantalizingly close. On January 19th, 2025, the last day of US President Joe Biden's four-year term, Luis Baqueris from Ecuador arrived here.
Sí, lo tenía para el 20 de enero. Luego llegó ayer una notificación de que la cita había sido cambiada para el 9 de febrero. Creo que sí, vamos a entrar, normal.
Permitted by Mexican authorities to approach the border once his asylum interview was assigned, Luis shrugged off any fears that the incoming administration of Donald Trump might make a difference to his asylum hopes.
Seguramente va a seguir dando oportunidad para poder entrar con la cita. Tener una oportunidad de llegar y poder tener tu asilo.
So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
24 hours later, and the situation was changed.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. Signed some executive orders.
In a series of executive orders immediately after beginning his second term in office, President Trump changed America's migration policy entirely. US military troops were deployed to the border. Mexican cartels were designated terrorist organizations. Mass deportations were to begin following countrywide immigration raids, and the asylum system on which Luis and some 270,000 others had pinned their hopes of entering America went dark. 30,000 border appointments were cancelled, leaving migrants in northern Mexico stranded.
Que nuestra cita que nos toca el 27 pues están eliminadas. Entonces no sabemos qué hacer. Nos dijeron que ya no había citas, que no tengamos esperanzas, que el nuevo presidente tiene cosas muy duras. Me vine llorando porque todas las esperanzas se me fueron hasta los suelos, de verdad.
For many migrants, reaching the border city of Tijuana represents the end of a journey of thousands of kilometers. The question of what to do now and where to go is causing a lot of anxiety here in the US-Mexico border region. Migrants from other Latin American countries now found themselves not only without a chance of entering the US, but without any legal migratory status in Mexico.
Por no tener ya una estancia legal, estamos a merced de, de que cualquier autoridades te puedan deportar.
The desperate situation had migrants at the border considering extreme options.
Si ya no hay una manera legal de cómo ingresar, todo el mundo pretende ahorita pues ingresar ilegalmente, buscar quién puede ingresarte, buscar dónde están los huecos fronterizos, cruzar las montañas. O sea, son cosas que pasan por tu mente porque al estar acorralado y sin una opción, empieza a buscar opciones ya más extremas.
However, as migrants witnessed the crackdown on undocumented migrants in the US, the fate of those who had crossed undocumented before became apparent. During Trump's first week back in office, US authorities tripled the number of daily immigration arrests made countrywide. Deportees arriving in Tijuana in the following days spoke of the alacrity with which they were removed. Juan Peña encountered the Border Patrol at 8 a.m. on January 28th as he dropped his daughter off at her California high school. By noon, he had been deported to Mexico.
Llevé a mi niña a la escuela y me encorté con la Border Patrol y pues me dejaron que la dejara en la escuela y de ahí me persiguieron directo a la frontera. Y pues sí, en la mañana y ahora aquí estoy contándote la situación. Es loco, pero es cierto.
President Trump's handing of immigration powers to all federal enforcement agencies and his nationwide expansion of the expedited removal policy, which bypasses the court system and moves directly to deportation, streamlined removals to astonishing speeds.
Nada de firmar papeles, todo fue así. ¿Qué serán? Como unas 4 horas. Pienso que estoy en un sueño y no quiero despertar. Y pues aquí estoy, mira.
While all undocumented migrants are subject to removal under Trump's administration, initial immigration raids focused on those with criminal histories. With his less than spotless record, Juan was a prime target.
Yo tenía un problema antes con ellos y tal vez podían irme a buscar. Y me encontraron.
However, spotless record or not, immigration raids saw Latino communities fearing for their futures across America.
Así está la Border Patrol, anda en la calle, anda en los restaurantes, anda en los files, anda en las tiendas, anda en todos lados. No nomás yo, vienen muchísimas personas más.
For documented migrants in the US, the fears were equally bad. Carla Ponce from Venezuela arrived in Los Angeles in 2023 and was granted temporary protected status under Joe Biden's administration. But as President Trump sought to revoke the legal asylum protections offered over the previous 4 years, migrants like Carla were left fearing for their futures.
Es un tema de nervios que aunque tú sabes que estás bajo una legalidad, por decirlo así, siempre está como esa incertidumbre y ese miedo.
After arriving in the US, Carla earned a registered nurse's assistant qualification and works 18-hour days in a clinic while studying for a full nurse's degree.
Aportando mi granito de arena en bien, ¿sí? Y también dejando un buen ejemplo, un buen legado de los inmigrantes, porque todo se basa en el agradecer, o sea, dando a este país lo que en poco tiempo él también nos ha dado, es como una retribución, ¿sí?
Carla says the anxiety over immigration raids terrified her work environment, and this amid an estimated worker shortage of 36,000 nurses in California alone.
Miedo, o sea, yo llego a mi trabajo, ten cuidado, está pendiente, no amiga, o sea, y he estado hasta al punto de que muchos cancelan sus horas laborales por el mismo tema de no salir de sus casas.
In Chula Vista, a normally bustling town home to a large migrant population, residents noticed a marked change in the atmosphere.
It's a ghost town. It's a lot of people that just don't want to even go out to the grocery store or anything because they're that afraid. So it's like almost like a COVID kind of ghost town, you know? Yes, I've seen a lot of change, and it's going to even get worse.
The impact on local businesses was equally evident. One local Hispanic restaurant owner spoke on the condition of anonymity.
Normalmente aquí los fines de semana siempre están como 5 familias, 6 familias sentadas. Ahorita no hay ninguno.
Amid the start of President Trump's immigration crackdown back on the Mexican side of the frontier, local authorities made their preparations. It's here at this Tijuana shopping centre that local authorities plan to house deportee arrivals. 15 kilometres from the port of entry, this building has the capacity to house more than 1,800 people. Nevertheless, analysts say mass deportations have the potential to overwhelm the border region.
El discurso americano habla de 1,000,000 de migrantes anuales, son en promedio 3,000 diarios. Tijuana no tiene la capacidad ni económica, logística para recibir ese número de migrantes. Y eso provocaría pues graves impactos económicos, sociales, políticos y de seguridad en la ciudad.
The start of Trump's second term has marked a new reality in North American migration policy. But as humanitarian protests erupt, legal challenges mount, and economies are hit amid workforce fears, the coming months will be a roller coaster. And whether or not President Trump continues his second term as it began, his opening migration salvos will reverberate across the Western Hemisphere for the next 4 years.